It's going to be nice to get this first pass completed. It was really nice getting the area underneath the bill and the breast here done. I really struggle to get through those areas. It's got to be done, but it's not my favorite area is when you have to get into really tight, hard to reach areas. Kind of reaching into some of these areas that were done with the spear shape and cleaning them up a little as I go. I don't know if it's easier for you to start in the middle where it's relatively a straight pull through the feather and then work out to the outer edge. I find it's easier to work from left to right because I'm right-handed and I can see what I've just done if I'm doing that, so I know where to lay the blade. The blade isn't blocking my view. It's getting a little hot here and I'm having to slow down to be a little more accurate, so I'm going to make an adjustment in the heat after I finish this particular feather. Turn it down just a titch. We want to keep control of the heat, not let it get away on us. It can make you work faster than you want to work, and that'll affect your accuracy. And feathers that are like these are different than those that were on the head. These are pretty consistent in their shapes, and where on the head, they're kind of tassely feather clumps that could go this way or that. These breast feathers really can only go one way, so gotta be careful to keep that in mind. See, I want to pull it all the way through to the end of the feather. That way I know where this one's coming in. The bill's a little bit in the way here on my fingers, so I've been told by some carvers that do this fine wood burning, they don't do any sanding at all. That the heat of the, on Tupelo, the heat of the wood burner takes care of that for them, and I can see that to some degree. And that's part of what I'm referring to when I say that Tupelo can be really forgiving. I'm having a hard time reaching this area. That bill's kind of controlling where I can lay my tip. I mentioned Dan Gibson Solitudes. He's got all kinds of different albums under the Solitudes brand. And it's all really wonderful nature sounds incorporated into their music, and no words. Just nice instrumentals, and you can hear birds and creeks and waterfalls and different sounds from nature incorporated into the music, which I think is pretty cool. Alright, so I'm noticing everything here is on top from the back, so I'm going to start in the back and move towards the front. can start feeling the heat in my thumb. But almost done here, so at least with the first pass, I'm anxious. I love to paint, and every step I complete or area that I finish up brings me closer to what I like doing the most, and that would be the painting. Doesn't matter if it's acrylics or smoothies or decoratives, I just love the painting. Since I'm doing this in real time, it's going to be interesting to add up the time in the videos to see exactly how many hours it took for me to woodburn this head. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone document this before like this, so unless somebody can see what it took to get to the end result, they'll never understand. How special it is, number one, and why it's going to cost a little bit of money to actually put it on your shelf in your collection. When you paint in oil, it's important to buy the quality paint and mediums. I use Grumbacher medium, it's a matte medium, it's called medium number 1. And if you read on the back of the bottle, it says it's used to achieve a matte finish. Very important. I don't use any Japan dryers or anything other than the Grumbacher medium number 1 and then Grumbacher turpentine in the plastic bottle. I had a negative thing happen when I was carving on the loon with chicks, and if you've read my book, you'll know I used some older turpentine. It was the Grumbacher brand, but had turned to varnish, causing me to have to remove the paint I'd already applied to my loon so that I could replace it. So when you're buying the Grumbacher turpentine, which is fantastic if it's not stored in a metal can and if it's not old, I was surprised to find the packaging had been changed to a plastic bottle, and I suspect that there was some issues with the product reacting to the tin can they were using. So only buy the Grumbacher turpentine if you can get it in the plastic bottle. The Grumbacher Matte Medium number 1 is used when I apply my initial base coats of paint. And with each coat that is added, applied, a little bit of turpentine is incorporated with the medium number 1. So the first would be 100% medium with your paint off your palette. The second pass or coat would be more like 25% turpentine, 75% medium, number 1. And as you do your, follow-up coats, you're adding more and more turpentine, and the reason is because the medium will cut through the very first, lowest layers of paint you painted on there, and it'll actually remove it. So by slowly cutting down the amount of the medium and replacing it with the Grumbacher turpentine, you don't risk the dissolving of your layers of paint that are below the coat you're applying. So it's important to, 50-50 is about as low as you need to go when it comes to using the Grumbacher turpentine and the Grumbacher medium number 1. I had considered for just a moment just wood burning these up and catching up, outside of the video, and then I realized I can't really do that if I'm trying to document how long it's taking to actually wood burn the head. So We're going to have a couple more videos before I can actually, maybe I can get this in one video, the first pass finished up. One more video, I should say. I've got one that's rendering now, and then another that I'll be producing when I finish this particular video. It's just this production line of videos I've been doing. And a few feathers left back here. I think I've got only a few more feathers on the front of this for us to finish up. And we can call the first pass done. It's always important to keep track of which feather's on top of which one and stop short when you're meeting up with an adjacent feather. I like to burn from top to bottom, but that isn't always possible, so you have to remain aware of how far you can burn without interrupting your order. It's important to get your tip all the way up to the feather above it, but you also need to be careful not to overshoot that reach and get into the feather You want to be accurate, and sometimes that means just plain old slowing down, especially when it's easy to get impatient when you're getting close to the end and you just want to be done with it. Okay, so basically the first pass has been completed and every feather surface has been burned. Not completely, but it's very well covered at this point. The next step is going to be coming in and hunting down grain lines there's not a whole lot of them, but there are a few. So I'll be coming back and hunting those down, and then after I hunt those down and add splits to them to make them blend in with the rest of the wood, then I will come in and end feathers and add splits and clean things up. I'll give you some close-up views of what's been completed now on the breast. Hopefully to make up for any time I pulled it out of view. To even off the detail underneath the mandible or these feathers right in here. It's not quite symmetrical. Maybe a little bit here. Still will be cleaning those eyes up and adding some detail to the eye rings. I'm definitely going to be breaking this up a little bit more. So that'll conclude the video for the first pass. Thanks for your patience. Yours and mine both.